This morning, both the high school and the junior high youth will be sharing about the experiences they had this summer. And the high school group, which is also called the MYF, which stands for Mennonite Youth Fellowship, will be sharing first. They attended the National Convention of the Mennonite Church, which was held in Columbus over the 4th of July week. This convention is held for all ages, from infants to adults, and there are children's and junior high activities, as well as delegate meetings and worship times for adults. But the majority of people who attend the convention every 2 years are high school youth. There were about 7,800 people who registered for convention, and of those, 4,300 were youth and their leaders, and there was just under 3,000 that were adults, and the rest were the children. Now, for the most part, each day we had a worship service in the morning and the evening, and seminars in the afternoon, and other special events in the evening, in the late evening. So there was a lot of learning and worshiping and social interaction. The youth and the leaders are going to talk about different parts of the week while showing pictures so that you can get an idea of the experience that what the experience involved and how we grew. And each youth is supposed to also be sharing a word that described their week. So I want to be clear that there's no 3-point sermon this morning. So if you came ready to hear an eloquent speaker with direct applications for your life, there will be none today, unfortunately. Instead, I encourage you to listen to how God spoke to each individual and to be challenged to find ways to apply the lessons that they learned and grow just as each of them grew. These are two groups of incredible young people who not only have great potential for what they can do in the future, but who are also making a difference today. The youth who will stand up here and share are just normal kids who are just as nervous about talking in front of the congregation as most of you would be, but they are as much a part of this church as each of you listening. And they each need your prayers as they move through these days of their youth. So I would encourage you, as you listen, to pick at least one youth that you see up here this morning and to pray for them every day this week. You can even talk to them after church, ask them about their experience and how you can pray for them. And we thank you for all of your prayers and your financial support in helping both of these groups on the trips that they went on. Now the high school youth is going to begin sharing about their trip to convention. We left the church parking lot shortly after 9 in the morning on June 30th, and we arrived in Columbus around 11 o'clock in the morning. Our first activity after lunch was to do our servant project. After a short orientation program with many other youth groups, we boarded school buses with some other groups, and we headed out to the various work sites. We were about the second to last group on the bus to be dropped off, and we were dropped off at the Life Care Alliance corporate office. Much to our surprise, we were not assigned to work there, but at the facility a few miles away. Unfortunately, by that time, the bus had already left, so we started to walk. About 30 minutes later, and with less than a mile to go, we were rescued by some of their employees that came to pick us up one carload at a time. After a very brief rest break, we donned some hairnets, and then we went on a tour of the facility. Life Care prepares and delivers food for the elderly, such as Meals to Wheels, to children's care places like daycare centers, and for cancer patients. They also do catering, and they have a cafe on site. Each year they serve over 1 million meals in Franklin and Madison counties. After our tour, we were divided into small groups and given our assignments. Some of us emptied out styrofoam coolers or canvas bags, lined them with plastic bags, and stacked them. Some got to package plastic silverware, while others counted condiments into bundles of 10. We also got to pack 7 complete frozen food meals in coolers for cancer patients. Our service at Life Care lasted for about 3 hours, a little bit short because of the walking bit. If I had to pick one word to describe convention, it would be learning. I learned through attending the seminars, and I learned from one of the speakers that the Hebrew and the Greek words for Holy Spirit mean both breath and spirit. And I learned that the girls like to sleep in, whereas the boys like to get up early and eat breakfast in our room. Venturer could not be here today, so we have a very short video clip of him, and then there'll be a few pictures of what he's describing.
Ben appears to be remarkably
My
quiet.
name's Ben Schroeder. The hotel that we stayed at was a Holiday Inn. It was about 8 blocks away from the convention center, and about a 20-minute walk. We walked once, I think, during the week. We drove most of the rest of the days. We had breakfast at the hotel. The sponsors had like toast and bagels, and Kevin even made me toast most of the time, which was awesome. And so we had breakfast there, and then we went to the convention center. In the evenings, we sat in the hallway, the kids did. We sat in the hallway and played cards, and Kevin brought us food too, which was awesome. And yeah, that's about it.
Meals, we got $20 a day. We got to spend $12 for lunch and $8 for supper. For lunch, we ate all together at sit-down restaurants like Max Merma's and Spaghetti Warehouse. And for supper, we were on our own and found anything that we wanted at the North Market. Breakfast consisted of a huge stash of bagels and toast and muffins and donuts that we brought along to eat at the hotel before we began each day.
Well, what a thrill to be able to attend convention. I'm not sure what exactly my expectations were for convention, having not been before. I've been to business conventions, I've been to school board conventions, and they're pretty straightforward. You do the exhibit hall, you do some seminars, you probably do a little bit of networking, and you eat a lot. And I found that the convention 2009 for the Mennonite convention was entirely different. We did eat a lot, but we have a lot broader, much more focused event, and you'll hear a lot more good things about it today. For me, when you ask what is convention, for me it comes down to one word, and I think it comes down to the toaster. You might wonder, well, why the toaster? The toaster is really about relationships. It's about building relationships. Early on in the convention, we would go to various activities. We'd get back to the hotel. We were still a little bit wired. The kids that are in the hall, they're playing card games, and they're hungry. Well, we don't really have access to food really easily, so we go to the breakfast foods. What do we have? We've got toast. So we began to bring toast, and I was able to bring and make toast for Ben and others. And what a thrill to kick off the event there. I heard much later after convention that later in the week, one of the kids asked Ben if he would make some hot chocolate or coffee or something for him, and Ben said, "Yeah, I can do that. If Kevin can make me toast, then I can make hot chocolate for you." So that was good to hear. Again, the toaster for me is about relationships, and if you talk to the kids, one of the things that was most exciting to watch was to see them working together, talking with one another, building relationships with one another. And then they would go out and they'd find some friends maybe they had seen at last convention 2 years ago. They might make new friends, and I heard a lot of that. Yeah, I met some new people. I met somebody from Kansas. Mennonite convention is not about Smithville Mennonite. It's about the broader Mennonite church. We had kids from Canada, from the West Coast, from the East Coast, conservative and liberal, just all types of people and races. And it was a thrill to walk into the arena and to see 4,000 people, more than 4,000 people, to queue up in the line, to race in to find a seat with your group, and to see this big bowl filled with kids ready for worship.